Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across the planet, around the world. My name is Gregg Prescott from In5D.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, good.
You're tuned into a Friday night, May 18th, 2024. How is everyone doing tonight? Yeah, normally I just jump right in, but I'm going live on Instagram and it's a little longer procedure, so I have to delay myself for like 30 seconds. But we're here, we're live. We're live on my personal Facebook page, YouTube, and Instagram right now. So, hi everyone. And I see Sarah on Instagram, along with D. Ziegler, BJ Montana. Thank you for joining me. Melajestic. Hi, everyone. I wish they were able in StreamYard to aggregate all the comments like they do with Facebook and YouTube. So in the studio, we can see all the comments right there. So, but that's okay. I've got the window open, so I can see everybody in Instagram as well. So hi to Alan as well on IG. And hi to Claudette on YouTube, one of our moderators who does a wonderful job keeping the order and the spammers away. So thank you, Claudette. Oh gosh, it was a hot one today here in southern Florida on the Gulf Coast. I went to the beach. Everyone's like, no, you? The beach? Yeah. Today's my favorite day to go to the beach. Actually, it is Saturday. What am I talking about? I thought it was Friday. It's Saturday. Happy Saturday, everyone. But yeah, this is my favorite day to go to the beach because everybody that was here, well, first of all, Siesta Key is very transient. A lot of people come here. It's been named the #1 beach in the world numerous times. And if you've ever been here, you'll know why. When I was living in Apollo Beach, a little north of Siesta Key, where there is no Apollo and there is really no beach, I would go to either Clearwater or St. Pete Beach if I wanted to go to a real Gulf of Mexico beach, right? And I always thought, a beach is just a beach, right? Except if you're going to Apollo Beach where there is no beach. Thought I would go there fishing. I had a lot of great memories there fishing with my daughter, Brittany. I always thought a beach was just a beach. So one day I go down to visit my parents in Fort Myers. And on the way home, I needed gas. And it just happened to be the Siesta Key Beach exit. So I'm like, all right, what the heck? I'm here. I'll go check it out. Because I had heard all this talk about, the beach being the #1 beach. And I'm like, whatever. So I get the gas and I pull into the parking lot at Siesta Key. And as soon as I'm pulling in, this car is pulling out in the best spot available. So I'm like, thank you, universe. I pull in. The parking lot looked completely different back then than it does now. They redid the parking lot a few years back. I don't know why, because I don't think they have more room. I think they have less. It looks nice, but anyway, so I get a great parking spot, and I get out of my car, and as soon as I stepped foot on this 99.9% quartz crystal sand, here it is here, I knew I had to live here. And within a week, I found a place. And I've been in Sarasota, Siesta Key ever since. So, yeah, I have a little thing of sand, a little bag of sand. This is where I pack up the shirts before I send them out, my In5D Quantum Tie-Dye t-shirts, before I send them out. And I always sprinkle additional quartz crystal sand on the shirts. And that way, I think this is Atlantean sand. What other sand is 99.9% quartz crystal? As hot as it was today, probably low 90s. And it doesn't matter what the temperature is, that sand never gets hot. Never. I was walking barefooted on it, no problem. Of course, I'm always barefooted. I rarely ever wear shoes unless I ultimately have to. There's times I probably shouldn't, but I go into grocery stores barefooted. And of course, if somebody broke a bottle of spaghetti sauce and I stepped on the glass, that would be nobody's fault but my own. So Claudette said it was actually very hot in Ontario today too. My daughter's in upstate New York, and I always check out the forecast up there, because especially you guys have had a long winter, as you often do, and I was looking at the extended forecast, and it's like it's going to be beautiful up there. So bravo, enjoy the beautiful sunshine. Anybody that's up in the Northeast, it was a long winter. It's almost as if you guys went from winter to summer. But the beautiful weather's here. Get out and enjoy that. And, my heart's with you. Get out there and ground. Take those shoes off. Of course, that water up there. Fuck. I grew up in upstate New York. I didn't go to Florida. I hadn't been to Florida until I was in my early 30s. That was with my ex-wife. We drove down. And it was before Brittany was born. I had 30 some odd years of thinking, this is what it's like everywhere with the water temperature. God, I couldn't have been more wrong. How shocked was I to step my foot into the water? And at the time, it wasn't even terribly that warm. But how shocked was I to find out there's warm water? Because if you're in upstate New York, you're lucky if the water temperature gets to 72 at the end of the summer. Now, I've been here in Florida for so long. 72? I'm not going in. It's too cold. So you kind of get spoiled being down here. My parents took us, my sisters and me, I'm sorry. They took us to Cape Cod one time in the early summer. Ugh. And of course, being kids, I might have been 6, 7, 8 years old. I don't know how. I was young. And being kids, you just run right into that water. You don't give a flying fuck how cold it is. I think the water temperature was in the 50s, upper 50s, maybe early, low 60s. I don't know. God, that was cold. They have what's called a polar bear jump for charity every year. And what they do is they go to, I think it's Goodyear Lake. They cut a huge hole into the ice, and people get sponsors to jump into the freezing water. I never did that. I found it fascinating why anyone, especially if you have a heart condition like me, there's no effing way I'd do it now. But it's for a beautiful cause, and I understand why. But they'd all get their, bathing suits and bikinis on, and in the middle of winter with snow around them, they jumped right in. All right. Hi to Valerie joining us. She's joining us from Canada, Alberta as well, on YouTube. I can't see how I'm highlighting. I can't do this on Instagram because it doesn't show up in my aggregator, but I'll try to give you guys shout outs. And hi to Cooperative Gardens from Northern California. Hope Ellie's little niece, Niecey Poo, is doing good. Yeah, things are trending in a very positive direction. I haven't heard from Allie today, but I spoke with her last night, and yeah, I'll call her afterwards. Yeah, the sand is magical. What I end up doing, as I mentioned, I sprinkle some of the sand on the shirts before I mail them out all over the world. So this Atlantean sand is actually going around the world and anchoring energy everywhere. It's basically my way of helping to light up the grid with everybody that's purchased an In5D quantum tie-dye t-shirt. I also put some of this sand into the water after I put gemstones in for specific chakra crystal colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. And so let's say for the root chakra, I'm using shungite. So I'll put the shungite in there, and then I'll sprinkle the quartz crystal sand, because quartz crystal magnifies the effects of other crystals. So you have these supercharged dyes that I make that get locked into the shirt. So and you can't wash it out. This shirt's probably 4 or 5 years old. You can't wash it out. So it's got all that energy in it, and then add a little of this on top of it when I mail it out to everyone, and man, got a magical combination right there. I'm going to post a link in the chat for In5D quantum tie-dye. So check it out. There's a link there, and I'll post one. Can I do that? I was going to say, can I post one on Instagram? Yeah, I can. Cool. I think. I tried. I don't think it went. Anyway. Izzy says, I can confirm, used to go there all the time, and the sand never burns. It also does not get everywhere. I don't love Florida water in the summer, like a hot bath. I'm not going to disagree that the water temperature isn't the greatest in the summertime. It does get quite warm. But at least for the most part, you have this beautiful Gulf breeze blowing. So Even if the water's warm, you dunk yourself in and stand up, and you got that breeze to cool you down. So it's not horrible, not at all. Good night, Val. And thank you for the prayers, Wendy. How are you? Yeah, that's a huge relief. Allie, man, she's been trying. You guys know Allie. All she does is give, and she's been doing the same thing. And it's it's not easy for her. So, I'm glad I can be there for support for her as well as the rest of the family. Hopefully I'm still live on Facebook or on Instagram. It's not letting me post a link. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But, and I can't scroll back, so I can't really see who's joined. But hi to Alan, who says, I've been following your site since like 2011. Right on. Appreciate that. Thank you, Alan. You published one of my articles a few years ago about the Philosopher's Stone. I'm making fine jewelry now. If you'd ever want anything custom made, right on. And Alan added that he lives in the area by Mount Shasta, and he found a gold nugget there once. How about that? Hi to Tawny and Thanasis, I think that's how you pronounce that name, on Instagram. Got to stay hydrated. So, getting back to the beach. I'm an introvert, as are many of you are introverts as well. Lots of us are introverts here. Every year since college, I've taken the Myers-Briggs personality test. And for those of you who know where I'm going on this, you can put your letters into the chat. Every year since college, I've taken the test. It's 60, 70 questions. There's no right or wrong way to answer them. Just answer them honestly. That's all you got to do. And when you're done, you'll get assigned 4 letters. Every year since college, INFP. The first letter is going to be either an I or an E. Introvert or an extrovert. And every year that's me, introvert. And I've said it many times as I'll hold up my iPhone 8, my ancient relic. If this was a big party and tons of people, the extroverts would be right here in the center. But you'd find me in one of the 4 corners watching all the extroverts. Maybe I'd be outside looking through the window because I didn't even want to be inside the party. Looking through the window. Look at those guys. Look at that guy with the lampshade on his head. He's an extrovert. the point of this is, yeah, I went to the beach today. Long story, bringing it all back home. Today's my favorite day to go because it's transition day. People have to check out. Usually they check out like last night or early in the morning now. They can't check in until mid-afternoon, like, well, maybe 2 or 3, 4 o'clock, who knows? Which means the beach is very desolate. If there's gonna be a great day to go to the beach, if you're an introvert, it's Saturday morning. And I look forward to that, being the introvert that I am. It's just, it's kind of like, it's not like I know people there and I'll talk to people there, but it's kind of like being in a grocery line where you can have a short exchange, but within 5 minutes, you're going your way and that person's going theirs. I don't want to pick up the energy of people I don't know for too long. Especially as an empath. So that's interesting. Let me know on Instagram if anyone else can hear me, because there's a comment there from Sean, says, I can't hear you, with a question mark. Oh, and then he goes, not in question form. No volume on one end right now. Can you guys hear me on Instagram? If not, join me on my personal Facebook page or on the In5D YouTube channel, because people can hear me there on those places. But let me know on Instagram. I appreciate that. So I put out a video a week ago about the 7 coronal mass ejections. That was crazy, wasn't it? I mean, they're setting records for auroras being viewed as far south as like Cuba, Argentina, Florida Keys. You're seeing pictures of the northern lights with palm trees. That's crazy. That's crazy. I've been feeling this. All right, Sean says I can hear you now. Okay, right on. I've been feeling like extra tired. Before I did this broadcast, I took a nap. Three, 4-hour nap. Oh, God. Who naps for 4 hours, right? That's kind of like half a night of sleep. Is anyone else feeling tired? Anyone else experiencing extreme tiredness? Oh, hi, Debbie, and thank you. That's a polite way of saying you look burnt. Oh, that's interesting, Claudette. The skies have been bright purple here at night, so you're still getting like lingering effects from the northern lights. Talking about INFPs, E for Wendy, extrovert. Right on. Welcome, fellow. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're not a fellow. You're an E. You're in the center of that room I was talking about. You're the one with that lampshade on your head, aren't you? Yeah, it's funny. I'm a psychology major. I ended up getting my master's degree in human services. And I find human behavior fascinating. That's why I got into psychology. Why do we do what we do? If you're on one side of the street and you look across the street and you see some person like walk kind of funny and then straighten back up again, you wonder what's going through that person's head. Well, I wonder, does he know that I saw him stumble? And then they act like I meant to do that kind of thing. And I totally get it, because part of me is empathizing with him, because I too am a klutz, just like Allie. We're both klutzy people. And we've all done that. You know, you kind of trip and then you straighten up and you act like, yeah, that's the way I normally walk. I got a spasm in my gait occasionally. Why do we do what we do? That's why I got into psychology. The mind fascinates me. I probably drive Allie crazy with some of my preponderances about simple things that I just like the English language. It's English. It's not American. So we're the ones that are butchering their language. When they say oregano and aluminium, they're right. We're wrong. But we're butchering the crap out of the English language. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that, Sir Captain Sticks. Thank you. And I feel for you, because I had diverticulitis and I ended up having to get a colostomy and a reverse colostomy. And during the reverse colostomy, I ended up having an incisional hernia and an incidental appendectomy. And then last year I had a gallbladder removed, and another, a year ago I also had the quadruple bypass. So all that stuff in like 3 years. Crazy. So yeah, I feel for you. Yeah. Wendy corrected herself. I was trying to type "me too" for tiredness. I don't know how to edit. I don't think you can edit it after you hit enter. I am an introvert. Okay, so you're not in. You're with the rest of us in the corner of the room, watching the extroverts. What if In5D? And I've done this before, but I've had numerous conferences. But what if In5D just had rented out a hall to have a meet and greet, knowing that like 80% of the people that visit In5D are introverts. It's the exact opposite of what society is. Society is usually 20% introverts. But on In5D, I've written a bunch of articles and I put a poll at the end of the article asking, are you introvert or extrovert? And 80% of the people that responded to the poll that follow In5D or have read the articles, they're introverts. The exact opposite. So if I had a party or a meetup or something like that, and I rented out a big hall like this, would we all gather in like each one of the four corners? Would the center of the hall be empty? See, these are one of the things I think about, as a psychology major, always thinking about why do we do what we do? Introvert, extrovert, that dichotomy fascinates me. And of course, there's a balance in between. Some people are called ambiverts, and it's kind of like a balance of both. I'm pretty good at admitting, yeah, I'm an introvert. I got no issues with that. Oh, God. On Facebook, there's a spammer. So I'm going to go over there and block that person. Hate when that happens. I apologize. Sorry, folks, when that happens. You know, these fucktards come on to my page and they try to get people to sign up for their psychic services when everyone knows that Allie is one of the best you can get to begin with. So, all right, that person's blocked. I just got to delete. There we go. All right. And just like that. Poof. And it kind of just like interrupts the flow of things temporarily, but we can get right back to where we were. Psychology. Why do we do what we do? The brain. How fascinating it is. You know, just the things we think about. I always thought that like comics, comedians, they're kind of like on the fringe. You gotta be. And I was thinking about my Mount Rushmore of comedian, my favorite comedians. And number one is Brian Regan. Funny. This guy is the kind of comedian that your stomach hurts from laughing. Tears are coming out of your eyes. Serious. And he's clean. Doesn't swear at all in his bits or skits that he does. That's hard to do. You don't see many comedians like that. Brian Regan. Check him out. And then the next three are in no particular order, but Brian stands above everyone else. And I would go with Mitch Hedberg, Bill Hicks, and George Carlin. And the last one was so hard because there's so many other good ones like Rodney Dangerfield, Richard Pryor, you know, Jerry Seinfeld, Mark Normand. It's one of the guys that is kind of newer-ish. He's been around for a while, but funny guy. I always tune into his podcasts. And there's a whole list of funny people that I enjoy. Dana Carvey and David Spade have a podcast together. I listen to that. It's entertaining. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore of comedians? Who do you think are the top four? If you could only limit it to four people, who are your top four? But yeah, I think, like I said, you know, comedians are kind of like on that fringe area. You got to be a little crazy. And you have to be, you know, able to look at things from a funny, humorous perspective outside the box. So I kind of dig those people. Hi to Gretchen, who says I'm also an introvert. My husband is not. Opposites attract. I'm okay with outdoor events, says Debbie, but don't like crowds indoors and can't stay long. Introvert too. Yeah. It's just the energy. It gets to you. there's a lot of people, there's a lot of energy vampires that are attracted to introverts. If you're gonna, if you're feeling drained and there's somebody around you that is just sucking your energy, look at some of the people in those situations, and they can smell us out because they know that many introverts are empaths as well, and we want to help everyone, right? So we're extending our arm out and saying, I'll help you. But in the meanwhile, this guy, the guy or girl would be like, great, to suck your energy. It's real. That stuff's real. Sarah says, I'm also an introvert, but I can socialize okay. Half the time I feel like an outsider, so I just try to be friendly. I feel you, definitely. That's the beauty about being an introvert. My mom doesn't believe me when I tell her, because she's an extrovert. She goes, oh, I've seen you playing in bands and jumping up on the table and shaking your butt. I go, yeah, but I'm up there. It's not just me. It's me with a bunch of other guys jamming. So that's, if it were just me, I wouldn't do that. But I kind of have that freedom to do that because I'm with a bunch of other guys. But because she's an extrovert, my dad's an introvert, but because my mom's an extrovert, she thinks I am too. Oh, you have a radio show or a podcast, and you have a podcast on the YouTube. She puts the in front of it. I see you're on the YouTube and the Facebook. Yes, I enjoy the YouTube and the Facebook. She's so computer illiterate. She refuses to get a cell phone. Just stubborn, like arms folded. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. All of her friends have them. My aunts that are still alive, and they all have, like recent iPhones and stuff like that. My mom, nope. So while I was at the beach today, as many of you know, I played bocce ball. After having the quadruple bypass, it's my way of exercising. And I'll go out there oftentimes by myself, and I'll just take this little white ball and throw it as far as I can. Then I'll roll these ceramic bocce balls and try to get as close as I can to the little white ball. Bocce is Italian, and it means to kiss. So the object is to throw, we'll say this is the white ball. You want to throw you want one ball to get as close to the other. So you're trying to get your balls next as close as you can to the white object ball. And often, you'll play partners or teams or one-on-one against other people. But to me, it doesn't matter. I just want to get out there and get some exercise. Doesn't matter if I'm close or not, but I usually get pretty close. I've been doing this for a while. So because I throw it a long distance, today something happened that just, it crushed me. I'm playing bocce, and I throw the white ball to set the marker. And as I threw the ball, the seagull flies out in front of it. Bam! Hit the seagull. It collapses down on the ground in front of me. Got it. And then its neck was off to the side. It must have hit him like in the side of the neck. And one of his wings was out on the sand. And oh God, it just broke my heart. I felt so horrible. I was like, as if the bird could hear me. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. But I stayed with it. I didn't have my phone with me. Normally I bring my phone when I'm playing bocce, but I didn't this time. And there were people there right by where I was, and I immediately ran up to them. I said, "Can you please call Animal Control Center and get somebody out here?" And they did, and I stayed with the seagull for like an hour and a half, and eventually, I was able to get the bird to stand up, but he wouldn't fly. And the people that called this rescue center, they said, well, take a towel and try to throw it over it, and until we can get there. And it took a while for them to get there. And then as soon as they get there, the bird decides he's going to fly away. So that there's a good ending to the story. But man, I felt so horrible. My daughter, when she was little, I would buy her stuffed animal cats. She had dozens, literally, like all those, what are the Thai babies or whatever they're called. She had like every cat you could have had for that. But I remember one Christmas, I was looking for last minute items, and I found this white stuffed animal cat, just little thing like that. And out of all the stuffed animal cats, that was Brittany's favorite. The cat's name is Meowsey. I ended up writing a children's interactive coloring book and story called A Home for Meowsey. And I did that for Britt when she was, little, and just to give her some fun activity to do. I don't know how or why, but somehow Meowsey ended up in my beach cart. And I'm always thinking about Britt. I love her so much. She turns 30 this year. So I took Meowsey and put her in my beach chair. There's Meowsey hanging out at the beach at Siesta Key. She's got this little dress on. And Britt said, "Aw, she looks like she's having the time of her life." And I said, "She is, but I agree with her. We miss you." Best job ever, father, being a dad, hands down. Hang on, I'm going to play something here. Do a little critiquing while I'm doing it, if I can, if it'll show it. Bear with me. Oh, okay, I can't get that there. All right. So, I have a video coming out tomorrow, and it's 16 signs that you may have been abducted by extraterrestrials. And that premieres on the In5D YouTube channel at 4 p.m. Eastern. So I hope you guys can check that out. And the reason I made that video is because I was on, hang on. I think it was Telegram. No, it wasn't Telegram. I posted it on Telegram. X, I believe, that I saw the original picture, and I'll show it to you right now. But somebody posted a picture of this bruise on their arm, and I thought, wow, this right here. Woke up with this on my arm a couple days ago. My wife did too, in exact same spot. Neither of us had an explanation. And it made me think, because same shit happened to me back in 2020, I think. And I don't know how or why I even noticed it. I might have been like brushing my hair. My arm was up like that. But had I not been in front of a mirror, I wouldn't have even noticed that. Right? And that happened to me on July 3rd, 2020. And I woke up and I had that bruise there. And that was on my right arm. And I got some comments. Like Franca said, I woke up with the same bruise on my right thigh. Left thigh for me, said Angela. Happens to me often, says Donna. Usually put it down to being naturally klutzy, like me and Allie. But sometimes I'm truly baffled. I love that word, baffled. So Frigga said that I had a bruise, really big black and blue, on the back of my calf a few weeks ago, and it hurt. Didn't even realize it was there for days. Have no idea how I managed to whack myself there. No memory of it. And Mooncat says bruising could be the first sign of leukemia. Well, yeah, I'm sure it could be a lot of things too, but it could also, I'm not feeling leukemia, especially mine was, 4 years ago. So, yeah. I'm thinking something probably along the lines of Gray's extraterrestrials being visited. Hopefully they didn't do any unnecessary probing. You know what I mean? For fuck's sake. Anyway, so that video is coming out tomorrow. And you'll see this in the middle of the video. Check it out.
No. In a world where fashion was stuck in the past, came the In5D quantum tie-dye t-shirts, revolutionizing the way we think about fashion.
Swami Tommy makes an appearance in this, and I was just mentioning to someone that I need to make another. Swami Tommy is overdue for a video.
Gone are the days of boring, bland fashion. Introducing the In5D quantum tie-dye t-shirts, where every shirt is a work of higher dimensional art. Say goodbye to the same old, and hello to the most epic, most legendary, most quantum tie-dye t-shirts in the universe. In5D quantum tie-dye t-shirts, where fashion meets quantum coolness.
Yeah. So, yeah, Swami Tommy made an appearance on that promo. Why not? But it might be time to bring Swami Tommy back for another escapade of tomfoolery and whatever he's going to get into. Yeah, that the outcome was it just made me happy. And it's the worst part of that seagull incident was its mate was there and stood by its side And it just broke my heart. I'm thinking, you gotta fly again. And I sent it out into the universe. And I asked my posse, my guides, please help this bird. Let it know I didn't do that intentionally. And I'm really sorry. Yeah. Morejo says that I've had bruises show up when I awaken. And thank you, Morejo, or Claudette, for posting that link. Actually, it would be in5d.net, though, where .com is the website, In5D, and then in5d.net is the quantum tie-dye. So thank you. Well, how about that? I was just watching Hello Down There. It's one of our In5D videos that I made. Can't wait to get my t-shirt. Right on. Welcome back, Val. Still here. Hopefully you brought back food for all of us. Swami Tommy can see all. Yeah, he's got his little crystal ball that he looks through. Not sure what he sees. Only he could tell you. Hi to Jackie on Instagram. Says, I followed you for years. Right on. Appreciate that. Thank you, Jackie. As well as Jelly Bean and Soulless Studio. Soul Lace Studio. Soulace. I don't want to say soulless. God, that'd be horrible. Soul Lace. Gotcha. I've been craving pierogies. Let me do this first. As you guys know, I started a keto diet on January 1st. That was my New Year's resolution. And I just wanted to get under 200. At the time, I think I was 226 or something like that. But at my peak, I think I was 234. You know, I'm 5'10". I've got broad shoulders. I got big bones. So I know, you know, I know what my weight should be for my body type. And so I got there, let's see, on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, I went under 200 for the first time in a long time. And I stayed under 200. In April, I decided, okay, I'm craving milk. And what I did was I figured out how many grams of fat you can have, or I'm sorry, carbs, how many grams of carb you can have in any given day. And it's like up to 50. But, you know, if I'm not eating carbs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I can have a big 16-ounce glass of milk. And it'll negate everything. Excuse me, it'll negate everything that I worked for during that day. But I'm still able to have something that brings me joy. And so for April, I only lost 1 pound when I was having milk with my meals. And this month, May, I thought, okay, I'm not even going to weigh myself. I weighed myself on the 1st. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to weigh myself until the middle of the month. And I forgot about it. And then I weighed myself the other day, yesterday, 198.6. And what I've been doing, I've been slowly incorporating certain things back into my diet that are not keto friendly, but are healthy. And one of these examples is I had organic spaghetti. traditional spaghetti has all these additives that are put in there, which makes us balloon up. But the ingredients on organic spaghetti is basically just the flour. That's it. So I had spaghetti with meat sauce last night. And what else have I incorporated back in? Like I said, the milk. And I've always said, I'm going to give myself a cheat day and I'm going to go out and get pizza. Well, I finally did that. It took forever for me to finally go out and get some pizza, but I heard of this place called Rico's. Rico's Pizza on Bay Road. And I looked at the reviews, and the reviews were fantastic. So I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And I went there. I went there on my way to the beach because I was hoping I would be able to photograph the northern lights here on Siesta Key. So I got I ordered a slice of Sicilian and a slice of regular, but they didn't have any regular, so they gave me pepperoni. I'm like, thank you. Okay. I go to the beach. I ate both slices on the way to the beach. And I go to the beach. I didn't see any northern lights. I ended up falling asleep on the beach, bathing in the energy of those lights. And I get back home, and like an hour later, explosive diarrhea. And I'll tell you what, I don't know how that place got so many great reviews because it was bland. Of course, I'm from New York. Pizza up north is fantastic. And it's so hard to find true New York Italian pizza in Florida. There's one place that I found in Sarasota, and it's called Sal's Pizzeria. Ironically, where I'm from, there's a Sal's as well. Different places, but that's the only place that I've found in Sarasota that has genuine New York pizza. A lot of people say they do. No. And there's a place, I think it's called Tony's Little Italy in St. Pete. That's really good. New York style pizza, but that's not close to me. I just happened to be in the area one time and I heard about that place. I'm like, yeah, I'll try it. And I bought it. I'm like, wow, this is delicious. I bought this big sheet of Sicilian. It was fantastic, but it's far away. And now that I'm on the keto diet, I said, screw it. So actually, it was kind of a good thing that I ended up having the explosive runs that way. That way, it flushed right through my system, right? So my guilt wasn't horrible for that because I was able to expel it quickly. Oh, this was the other guilty pleasure. There's a place called European Deli, and it's run by this Hungarian woman. But they sell, Hungarian food, Polish, Russian food, and they have homemade pierogies there. I love pierogies. On my dad's side, my dad is Polish. My mom, my grandfather is Polish, and my grandmother is Russian. And so, my grandmother would make the best pierogies when we went down to visit them in New Jersey. And she'd always send us back with this huge bag of pierogies. And let me tell you, for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, my daughter was down here, and we made them 50 pierogies. 50 for their 50th anniversary. also made them a special book encapsulating the memories from when they dated up until that month. But we made 50. They take forever to make. The way I make, my mom has 2 master's degrees in culinary arts, so a little rubbed off on me. Okay, so you can only live stream on Instagram for 1 hour. So thank you for everyone that joined me on Instagram. But we're still here on Facebook and YouTube. So, yeah, my daughter and I made 50 pierogies for my parents. And what I do, I don't know if there's any other Polish or Russian, Hungarian folk out there that have made pierogies. My favorite, my grandmother would make them. There's all sorts of fillings that you can put into a pierogi. What a pierogi is you make homemade dough, and you put like a large circled, I don't know, it could be a measuring cup or something, but you end up cutting out circles in the dough. And then you put your filling in. What I choose is potato, caramelized onion, and cheese. And I'll put that as my filling, which are all, because I would use sweet onion. So the flour, not keto friendly. Potatoes, not keto friendly. Sweet onion, not keto friendly. The cheese, yeah, that is keto friendly. But I would make those. And if I'm going to make pierogies, I'll make a shitload of them and I'll freeze them. I'll give some to family and whatever. But yeah, I'll freeze a shitload of them. So I went to this European deli and they had pierogies there. Frozen, homemade. You know, if you buy pierogies at the grocery store, like Mrs. T's, God, that sucks. It's like comparing good pizza from an Italian restaurant to Domino's pizza. And that's not pizza. I mean, it'll suffice if you really needed something to eat. And so would Mrs. T's pierogies. Not that good, though, compared to the authentic homemade pierogies. So I bought some pierogies the other day, and they're in my freezer. And I tried them, and oh my God, that was so good. And I'm just grateful that I was able to find some homemade ones here in Sarasota. Oh, and what you end up doing when you you put the filling inside of the dough and then you fold it over and tap the edges with a fork, throw it into a pot of boiling water until they rise. Then you take them out, let them cool. And I fry them in butter after that. And then when they're like slightly golden on both sides, take them out and they're good to go. You served with a side of cream, sour cream. So you cut up a little piece of the pierogi, a little forkful of sour cream. Oh. Yeah, good stuff. Ironically, I have a YouTube playlist. It's like 29 videos on how to speak Russian. Because I figured if my grandparents could communicate with each other, I'd be able to at least understand Russian and Polish. if I learned how to speak Russian. On my other side, my mom's side, she's half Italian, Sicilian, and half Spanish. And my grandfather came from Spain. He would come up from Brooklyn, New York. He'd take a bus and would come to upstate New York. He'd bring his guitar, and he always had a bunch of bananas and cowboy boots for me. But he never gave my sisters anything. And I felt badly about that because I was the son he never had. But there's a bond that I had with my grandfather, because when he took out his guitar, he might as well have been the Pied Piper. Because as soon as he started playing, I'd sit cross-legged in front of him and just stare in awe. He played that Spanish flamenco style. Beautiful guitar. Oh, and he taught himself. He learned how to play by ear. Never knew how to read music. What an amazing musician he was. He bought me my first electric guitar and amp. He might have gotten it from Sears. And back then, it was a no-name brand, but it was my first electric. And the amp was like basically a loud acoustic guitar. There was no distortion on it. And I couldn't figure out like how bands like Led Zeppelin got that awesome guitar sound. I couldn't do that. But nobody told me that that's distortion and how to get distortion on a guitar through a particular amp. I ended up writing a song after he died. He died in 72, 73. He was a young man. He was I think he was 72 himself. So I'm 60. It's been 64 this year. So if my longevity is as old as him, I only got 8 years left. You never know. I hope not. Hope I got more than that. But with my health issues, who knows? One thing I don't fear is death. So I wrote this song in his memory once he passed. There's no name for it, but I wanted to write this Spanish flamenco style song. There's times where I'm jamming on guitar and I can feel his presence, like he's just like nodding his head, smiling. I can feel him with me. So I write this song and I play it for my mom. This is her father that inspired me. Every time I play that song for her, she cries because she says it sounds so much like him. It's almost as if I channeled him through my fingers. And I've never written a song like that before in my life, that genre, that style. I ended up writing a classical song as well. Never had any experience. I was inspired by Tesla, the love song, the prelude in the beginning of the love song is beautiful. And I'm like, I can do that. And I did. And I wrote a classical piece on my guitar. And my mom cries over that one too. So my parents are it's not assisted living. It's just like, I don't know. It's like a big condo for retired people. But they're getting up there in age, and I'm so grateful I still have mom and dad. Dad is 94. Mom is 87. And I talk to them a lot, and they're at that age where, like my mom, called her up one night and we spoke, and then the following day she didn't remember some of the things I told her. No clue. So, I mean, you know, their memories are going a little on short-term stuff. Long-term, they can remember that stuff. But if I have to re-explain stuff time and time again, I don't care. There's going to come a day where they're no longer with me, and I won't have that opportunity. So I'll re-explain things over and over as many times as it takes. Doesn't matter. If I'm on my phone, I'll record the conversation. Because at the end of our conversations, we always say, I love you. And at some point, like I said, they're not going to be here, and I won't hear them saying, I love you ever again until I see them on the other side of the veil. God. I'm really grateful that I still have my parents right now. And my heart goes out to anyone who's lost their mom or dad or both of their parents. I feel for you. I do. Remember I was talking about psychology. Why do we do what we do? I was thinking, you know how I don't have them. Don't have one in front of me. You know how, like back in the day in the 70s, you're at a concert and you'd have a lighter and you'd go back and forth with your lighter and the whole crowd would be lit up with lighters, right? I thought, how cool would it be to time travel back then and see some of these concerts and seeing all the people with their lighters? What if you told that a person there, you know, I came from the future, and in the future we use phones instead of lighters? What would be going through their mind? Phones? What are you, crazy? Because through their minds they're thinking you're holding up a rotary dial phone instead of a cell phone, right? What if you went even further back to the days of Alexander Graham Bell, and you're watching, I don't know, Tchaikovsky, and you're telling them, you know, back in the 1970s, they held lighters up. And then in the 2000s, they were holding their phones up. And he's thinking, phones? Back Alexander Graham Bell's phone was this big box. And he's thinking, what kind of idiot are you holding up a phone at a concert? Psychology. Why do we do what we do? Why do I think stupid things like that? I've been on for over an hour. I want to thank everyone for joining me. There's a new video tomorrow. I had to check what time it is. I have a new video coming out tomorrow on 16 signs that you may have been abducted by aliens, extraterrestrials. That premieres at 4 p.m. tomorrow Eastern, 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on the In5D YouTube channel. And I think you guys will dig it, definitely. If you haven't already, go check out In5D Quantum Tie-Dye at in5d.net for some amazing shirts. And like I said, when you get your shirt, when you don't empty out the package, you're going to see some 99.9% quartz crystal sand fall out of your package as we use that sand to anchor the grid for all of our Atlantean families. When I because of the 99.9% quartz crystal sand at Siesta Key Beach, when I go there to see a sunset and I'll see all those people lined up on the beach, I'm thinking, I wonder if they're Atlanteans trying to remember their past. I've had 2 lives in Atlantis. You know, I've explained it before. You know, one life, I'll just briefly say, in one life I was an artist, sculpture. I did sculpture and painting, and I made beautiful works of art. And in my last life was at the end of Atlantis. Allie was there as well with me. We were not good people back then. And we've all had lives like that, where we've been the best of the best and the worst of the worst. And in this life, I was a scientist in charge of the genetic modification of plants, animals, and insects. I was making these hideous hybrids. I remember as Atlantis was sinking and I'm drowning, I could see some of my creations in the water sinking with me. And I thought, we can't let this happen again. It's happening right now. We're seeing man pigs and various cross breeds of humans and stuff like that. This shit's happening right now. Haven't we learned a freaking thing? Fortunately, I came back as a being of the light in this incarnation, as you all are as well. So, you know, if you've all had those lives in the past where you weren't a good person. We've all had them. But fortunately, we're here to bring the light and the energy. So on that note, if no one has told you this yet today, please allow me to be the first. You are loved. You are appreciated. Thank you for your service to humanity. Until the next time, I'm Gregg from In5D.com, In5D.net, Zentasia.com. Sending you all infinite love and light from my heart to yours. Good night, everyone.